arrived at Jakub's garage, and I know in the last video I said we're going to do the gearbox, but newsflash, the issue wasn't a gearbox. The oil I have been seeing was normal oil from the engine that was leaking around the mounting point where the gearbox sits on the engine. Why it stank like gearbox oil? Because the diff somehow was dry but got the fluid all the way around the car and it just stank on the car. I have no idea how it happened, but it was the diff that was broken, that was fucked up. The gearbox is completely fine, but well, at least we changed the clutch. So this is how a clutch is supposed to look like. This is how mine looked like. Completely purple. We changed the rear crankshaft seal on the engine, so it's not leaking oil anymore. I still have my original gearbox, and I welded my open diff that I had laying around. So there's that. That's everything that happened. There's Jacob. Okay, so the plan for today is I have these things right over here. One is a radiator. It's a bigger one. I don't know the size, but it's bigger than stock. Of course, it's winter time, so I don't need that much cooling, but it's good to do it, good to have it, just in case. You never know, and I don't have to do it in spring. And then I have these suckers. For those of you who don't know, these are steering rack spacers, which give me a little bit more steering angle, which is gonna be quite handy in the snow for correcting some of my mistakes I do behind the steering wheel. Also today, but that's not gonna be my job, that's gonna be for Jacob, we are going to fix my exhaust. We're probably gonna get rid of this big sucker and put a smaller one from Skoda Felicia. So that's gonna be kind of fun, gonna be a little bit louder. But the main problem on this exhaust is that it's leaking everywhere. It's leaking here, it's leaking in this part, and mostly from the part that's going from the exhaust manifold, and it's just leaking in every single one of these connecting points, which if you look at it, makes a lot of sense because it just looks all scuffed up. So that's gonna get taken care of as well, but that's for a little bit later because Jacob is not here right now. Also, I'm thinking about raising the car because it is pretty low, and I don't know, I sometimes feel like a snowplow. So yeah, now I'm gonna just wait for it to dry up just a little bit because there's a lot of water drops just falling down. You can see it's, oh shit, that's a big puddle over here. So yeah, I'm just gonna wait for it to dry up just a little bit so I don't get water drops on my face constantly, and I'm gonna get right to it. So I am gonna start with the easier part, which is changing the radiator. Jacob just came in, he got us some stuff for the exhaust and this beauty. So apart from disconnecting the hoses, which is these two up here and one down the bottom, I think, I have to get 2 bolts undone. One is somewhere here. No, I don't think you can see it. Another one is on the other side, as well as disconnect the fan. Now that I think about it, I think taking off the intake pipe is going to be better for manipulation, so I'm going to do that as well. So we got it out. Let's compare these two, so you understand why most people do change these. You can see how this one is very skinny. This one is a chonker. And you can see the difference right away. In wintertime, as I said, doesn't really matter that much. But when the days will get warmer in maybe like a half a year. This one is very nice to have, and it's a common weak point of the Miatas. It's the cooling system, because that one is just, look at it, it's just so small, so tiny. So I'm glad I got this one as a replacement. Now all I have to do is just put the fan from this radiator to this one and put it back in the car. So the new radiator is in, looks awesome, love it. I'm not gonna fill it up right now, because to bleed the system you do have to have the car started up, and I'm in a closed garage and I don't want CO2 poisoning, so I'm gonna do that later. So we're gonna head on to the steering rack spacers, so we have bigger angle. I'm not gonna show that process because it's gonna be boring and I don't know how to do it, so I'm gonna be watching a lot of YouTube videos. So I'm just gonna show you how the angle looks now and how the angle is gonna look after I put the spacers in there. I don't know, it cost me like 15 bucks, so I think it's the cheapest way to get angle on your Miata. So this is the stock angle. It doesn't have, it's not too bad for it being stock. Here's how it pokes out over here, and here how it looks from the front. It doesn't work like shorter knuckles, because when you do shorten your knuckles, the steering input is faster and it's like more sensitive. Here, all it does is you can turn the wheel a little bit more, so you get that little bit more angle. That's really all it does. Also, I think I might have found the reason my brakes are squeaking. I have a cracked disc. Just to quickly explain what I'm going to do with the spacers, I'm going to unscrew this sucker, put this I think it's a 5mm spacer on there, which will give me essentially more steering angle, and I just have to measure exactly, I think it's 5mm on here, so I don't get my alignment messed up. So I'm just going to compensate of what I add here. I need to compensate over here. That's literally all I'm going to do. Alright, so I mounted them in. As you can see right over here. Here's the spacer. Let's check out how much angle I gained. Okay. I think that's some decent angles. Should I calm down? Okay, that's noticeable. That's very noticeable. Yeah, I think that's quite a bit. It looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. This cable that I think turns on the fan just snapped, so I fixed it up with some electrical tape and just pushed it back on. So I hope that's not going to do any issues. I think it would not. And now I think it's time to fill up the radiator with some coolant and distilled water. When the thermostat does turn on, I needed some more liquid to be in there, so I'm just going to put a little bit more coolant, just so it can suck some of that in. While the car started up here, I realized I hear a lot of sounds coming from places they're not supposed to be coming, you know? Like the exhaust is just leaking everywhere, in every single connecting point. The exhaust is leaking, which is just not ideal, so I'm glad we're gonna tackle this today. Okay, so the cooling system is bled. Hope there's not much air left in there. I really hope not. There was a lot of bubbles that came out, so I guess it is bled properly, I hope. Now, all that's left is getting the exhaust done and raising the car maybe like 2 centimeters, an inch and a half. So, yeah, but that can wait, because I have food. So now, all I have to do is clean up all this mess on the coilover so it doesn't get stuck on the Zabit. I think that's, I don't know, a little over a centimeter. I don't want to go too high, you know. I'm driving good already with this ride height. I just want a little adjustment, just a little winter spec. So I think that's gonna be more than enough. Dělej něco děláš, ty vole, to nevyberu teda.
Počkej, budem tady kámo takhle. Tak ale natáč. Ne, tohle.
Okay,
Počkej.
what you doing, guys?
Neumím anglicky, vole, tak to řekni za mě. Taky ne. No, tak to jsme všichni.
Koukni na mě z druhé strany.
Hello, my friend.
Okay, so we don't need to do a decat. All we have to do is get new gaskets on every single of these parts over here and probably get rid of the... What you call this? Co mu nedává? No, nepovídej, pičo, anglicky potřebuji. Muffler! Muffler! Pičo, podvozek mi vypadl. My coilover fell out. Okay, so I think this might be the reason why it was leaking in the exhaust manifold.
You wanna touch? After 1 a.m. and we are... What are we doing, my friend?
It's currently 3 days after the shot you just saw. Exhaust is still leaking, but I don't care. There's very good snow on a hill we like to drift up, so I'm going to at least test out the steering angle and how it works now.
There's a car. And there's a fucking hole. Camo.